Reports are stating that Galatasaray are extremely keen on Bissouma and that he is their number one target. A report claims that Spurs are interested in making a move for free agent Raheem Sterling and that Thomas Frank would approve of a move for the player. Reports are stating that Tottenham Hotspur are said to have begun talks for Bayern Munich midfielder Leon Goretzka, and Joe Cole has slammed Tottenham Hotspur stars and insisted the dressing room's behaviour towards Thomas Frank needs to be looked at amid increasing pressure on the boss. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we go live or upload a video. Okay, let's get into it. Give Me Sport report that Galatasaray are making full use of their trip to England as talks over 3 potential transfers are set to accelerate. The Turkish club faced Manchester City in the last Champions League group phase game on Wednesday evening, but planned to leave with at least one midfielder. According to reports, Tottenham's Bissouma is their absolute priority and alternatives will only be considered if no deal can be agreed with Spurs. Media in Turkey suggests that Bissouma's representatives have already spoken to Galatasaray over a move, but they will continue in England over the coming days. West Ham's Sungutu Magasa and Nottingham Forest man Ibrahim Sangare are also viewed as options, but Bissouma is described as being the first choice. In fact, such is the desperation to get Bissouma over the line, senior figures and management have been flown over to get the deal done. They are said to be ready to discuss a potential transfer and will only move onto Sangare or Magasa if things do not go well with Bissouma. Galatasaray reportedly already had an offer rejected for Magasa, which was rejected, but that has not put them off. The Frenchman, who was initially seen as a loan option. With Bissouma out of the Champions League squad, he may only have one more appearance left at Spurs. If he makes it to Sunday's match against City, ironically, then there will only be one day left to complete the transfer. Spurs travel to Manchester United a week later when the window will be shut. There is every chance that Bissouma's minutes at Turf Moor were his last in a Spurs shirt. Football.London report that Raheem Sterling has previously confessed to harbouring dreams of representing Arsenal, which he eventually did, while it could potentially complicate any transfer discussions with Tottenham Hotspur. The winger became a free agent following his departure from Chelsea earlier this week. It means he is now eligible to join a new club even beyond the January transfer window. Recent reports suggest that his representatives have already engaged in discussions with as many as 7 clubs regarding his next deal. The Sun reports that Tottenham are among those clubs. Spurs might hold an advantage due to their geographical location, with Sterling having previously expressed a preference to remain in London. However, it's now being suggested that the 31-year-old is prepared to consider opportunities further away in a bid to revitalise his career. Napoli are among the other clubs reportedly expressing an interest. As regards Spurs, Sterling's dream of representing Arsenal is unlikely to sit well with Tottenham Hotspur's supporters. The loan arrangement with Spurs' North London rivals saw him feature 28 times across all competitions, netting once and registering 5 assists. It has to be said that, however, that according to journalist Alistair Gold, Tottenham are not expected to make a move to sign Sterling on a free transfer. This comes shortly after the reliable reporter ruled out a potential move for Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta. 442 report that Tottenham Hotspur are said to have begun talks for Bayern Munich midfielder Leon Goretzka. Progressing in the Champions League earlier this week, manager Thomas Frank wants to add further bodies to his squad and is now eyeing a move for the 30-year-old Germany international. Goretzka has often been linked with a move to the Premier League in the past, most notably with links regarding Manchester United and Arsenal. But with less than 6 months left on his contract at the Allianz, it is unclear whether Vincent Kompany sees a future for the tenacious midfielder who has started 15 Bundesliga games so far this term. In fact, it's been said this morning that he's going to leave in the summer. But according to Italian journalist Daniele Longo, Frank is assessing whether the Lily Whites could make a late move for the former Schalke man, who is also liked by sides in Serie A. Longo claims that Tottenham are in contact with Roof, the agency that manages the Bayern Munich player, as relayed by Sports Witness over the past 24 hours. Football.London report that Joe Cole has slammed Tottenham Hotspur stars and insisted the dressing room's behaviour towards Thomas Frank needs to be looked at amid increasing pressure on the boss. The Dane has failed to turn the tide at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium since being appointed as Ange Postecoglou's successor in the summer, with Spurs currently sitting 14th in the Premier League standings after 7 wins, as many draws and 9 losses to show for the season. As a result, Frank has seen fans turn on him recently with chants of "you're getting sacked in the morning" ringing out from Tottenham Hotspur supporters home and away this month. However, the former West Ham and Chelsea star Cole has urged fans to take a look at the wider state of play instead of pointing the finger at the squad for a disastrous run of form. Speaking ahead of the Champions League clash with Eintracht Frankfurt at Deutsche Bank Park on Wednesday, Cole said, "We are talking off the air there. I really feel for Thomas Frank. Daniel Levy's left, who knew everything at the club. Everything went through him. He chose the spoons in the kitchen. It's a real mess at the moment and the fans are still calling for change. But where do you want to change it to? They won't win trophies. They think it's 1 or 2 in 30 or 40 years. They want to play like this, then they don't want to play like that. Then Thomas Frank is just a front man. Just give him time. Let him do his thing. He did it at Brentford." Some of the behaviour from the players towards Thomas Frank and their own fans and some of the staff online and all that nonsense, I just think that's the problem at Tottenham. It's not Thomas Frank. Ali McCoist concurred with Cole's thesis on matters in North London at present, explaining how the club look a little lost domestically at present despite a good European run. He explained, "I do agree. I was at the Dortmund match for the first 45 minutes. They were excellent. As a club, I think they look lost. You can even discuss the rights and the wrongs of it, but they got rid of a manager who won them a European trophy. If you take it like that and think about it like that, it's madness. I know the league position is nowhere near good enough, but you could see Postecoglou was not giving up points, and his main aim was to win that European trophy, and he did it." Okay, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Firstly, the Bissouma exit regarding Galatasaray. This has been knocking around for, well, since the summer window, really, hasn't it? Bissouma heading out of Spurs, and we all thought he was going to be heading out of Spurs in the January transfer window, and of course he still may. A few days left yet. But Galatasaray seem to be very keen on the player. Bizarrely, when Bissouma's come back into the team, he certainly looked like one of our better players the other week. And this is a player that has really been out of Thomas Frank's thoughts, and he was only put in purely because we just didn't have the players to put in, and Bissouma had to play, and he looked pretty good. But could I see Bissouma moving on? I'll say it again, yes, I probably can, because Thomas Frank obviously doesn't, Bissouma's not going to be in his top 2 or 3 central midfielders. But as I say, bizarrely, he came on and he looked very, very good, didn't he? But I can probably see this deal happening if Galatasaray can agree the deal with Tottenham. Obviously, Bissouma you would think, go free in the summer unless they extend his contract for a year, if that's even in his contract. So I think Bissouma does exit. It could be a deadline day one, but let's see about that. These Sterling rumours as well. It's kind of been poo-pooed. Alistair Gold, who I tend to believe over most else, has poo-pooed this, but I did throw it in because there was clear links with Sterling that Thomas Frank likes the player. The reason I put it in is it just seems like such a Tottenham transfer to me. You can just see it happening, can't you? Because we've seen this sort of thing in the past with the likes of Timo Werner, that sort of thing, these sort of players that are available cheap. And of course, we all thought that things were going to be different this transfer window. And at the moment, is it any different to what we've been used to before in previous transfer windows? It's under ENIC still. Just the fact Daniel Levy's not there, it's still ENIC pulling the strings and stuff. So yeah, it's been a bit disappointing so far. Still a few days left, and I've always said you can't judge a transfer window until the window is shut. So let's see what Spurs can do. But these Raheem Sterling links, I personally would not be in favour of this move. The players dropped off massively. Obviously, England's stalwart for many years, wasn't he? But it's just dropped off. The clubs he's played for, incredible, really. But in his 30s now, is that the sort of player we're going to need? Looks like he could well go abroad, actually, but you would think there'll be other Premier League clubs in for him as well. So, but for me, get down in the comments, let me know what you think. But for me, I wouldn't be too keen on Raheem Sterling coming to Spurs. These links with Goretzka, it's been said this morning, Fabrizio Romano came out and said that it's been confirmed he will be leaving Bayern in the summer. Another player in his 30s, another midfielder. Personally, how many midfielders do we need? This is what gets me. How many midfielders do we need? We seem to have a fair few midfielders. We need wingers, we need strikers, we need people to challenge the likes of Dominic Solanke. We need real game changers up front, and we're still being linked with the likes of Goretzka. One report says we're in for him, one report says we're not. Again, free transfer, this would seem like a Spurs thing to do, but I would argue, why would we go for somebody like this? We need forward-thinking players, and Goretzka isn't that. So, yeah, all the reports seem to be on midfielders. It's really, really strange. There was a report as well about Gnabry, which was actually in the report, it contradicted itself. Said Spurs are interested in Gnabry and inquired about him, when it clearly says that Gnabry is going to stay where he is. So, what's the point of that? What's the point of that? And would we be able to attract somebody like Gnabry? Obviously, ex-Arsenal player again, so that would be a strange one. Anyway, the Goretzka, let's see what happens. But again, not the sort of player I think we need. And finally, Joe Cole on Tottenham. Saying we've got to look inside the dressing room, give Thomas Frank time. I think Thomas Frank would get to earn time if the Spurs could see things turn around in the Premier League. Obviously, most people that watch this channel know my thoughts on it, but you'd have to say if we turn things round and we picked up points and put in really good performances in February, then you have to give kudos to Thomas Frank for doing that. He's been under so much pressure, it can't be nice, but he's got to start picking up points, and the team have got to start picking up points. We've looked terrible defensively in some games, and in Europe, it's been a nice change, hasn't it? Finishing fourth in the Champions League table. So it's just totally chalk and cheese. Let's hope we can take that form into the Premier League, because my word, we need the points. If West Ham start picking up a couple more wins, and God forbid we lose, we could be right down there and in a relegation scrap, which we don't want to be. I still don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're in a relegation battle, but at the end of February, if we haven't picked up points, we could well be. So yeah, come on Spurs, let's get a couple of players over the line in the last few days of the transfer window, and let's get going, let's pick up some points, and give us a happy February. Well, that's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on all these stories today, or any other rumours and reports that you have been interested in as a Spurs fan. And as always, come on you Spurs.